All right. Cool. So moving on to module 4, which is introductory to solution selling. Also, we aligned with a few of our partners with this. We've also got our own sort of solution selling techniques. Obviously some training material from Google that I think adds value, so it kind of gives you an idea of the framework. And obviously I've mentioned to you before the sales process, the growth sales process. That's very, very important that you guys understand that and know where you fit into that process. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so it's a nice little presentation that you can, and it is quite old, but it's just to give you an idea of what Google's sort of sales process was and how we've kind of evolved it. So we obviously have our own best practices and own sales sort of guide, but I thought this was quite an interesting little presentation. So obviously covered, the difference between a lead and an opportunity. So you guys pretty much understand that. Okay. We went through a bit of qualifying criteria, which, obviously, once it's an opportunity, the qualifying criteria there. You also know what are good questions to ask to qualify a lead. So there'll be a couple of questions. So if you get that deep into the conversation, you'll have to answer or put the questions forward. Cool. Initiatives, events, tennis to ops. That's normally the ratio, but don't take too much into that. So basically, they're telling you from an events, from attendees to ops, you've got a 10%. So say 10 people attend, 1 person will be an opportunity. When you do cold calling, every 8%, etc., etc. What should we compare lead qualification to? Okay, so this is Google's framework for qualifying leads into ops. So as I mentioned to you yesterday, budget, authority, need, time frame, and there's going to be objections. Also covered the objection handling phase, and then next steps. So that basically qualifies that lead to. And yeah, you obviously need to find out the correct person you're speaking to. So as you can see there, that A and N is the most important. Authority and need. So we're not talking to the right person, there's no point because they can't make decisions, and if there's no need, there's probably not a worthwhile conversation to have anyway. So without those two, the rest of the stuff falls away. And yeah, when I go through a recap, we'll obviously identify your other authority decision makers. So not necessarily a CEO, CFO. So there might be other ones within a company that are also decision makers that fall into that, but I have touched on that. So easy, quick way to remember that is DANTOS. Budget, authority, need, time frame, objections, and S is for next steps. But you have access to this stuff. Cool. Let's start with the easy criteria. Budget. There's a budget at least equivalent to the cost of the apps licenses. Question: what have you budgeted for this project? So, you might get into a conversation and they're already looking at suppliers for technology. So you might have caught them at a great time. So you can ask them if it's a mobile app development project. What have you budgeted for this? What are you looking to spend? That's a great understanding, so that you get a rough feel if they've got 10,000 Rand or 500,000 Rand, then that dictates the complexity of the app, etc., etc. Time, so I told you, yeah, so typically now we're seeing these timeframes coming down. So a typical 200 employee company, you can see in less than 6 months that they could deploy a solution such as Google or Office 365 or any other solution for that matter. We see in mobile app development, they're really quicker sales cycles. You can have a discussion, initial discussion, and then a month or two, they can be signing up as customers, so on the mobility front. But in terms of moving the entire infrastructure into the cloud from an on-premise solution into the cloud, can take a while. But you typically want to find out that they're looking to spend or looking to move ahead within 6 to 12 months, depending on company size. So a couple of questions you can ask is, when will you need the system to be up and running in your company by? So they're going to say, hey, it's July now, so end of the year, we want the system to be live. Great, so it's only 5 months. Perfect. Then you can start forecasting and say, okay, this is going to happen. Or you can ask, when is your current agreement with Microsoft ending? And then you know that it's ending in December. If you thought next year in March, then we can obviously time the engagement. So don't handle objections during the call. Objections should be taken into account, take note of them, and let the prospect know. But the sales reps, product specialists deal with it. So yeah, I think they're referring to like technical questions and things like that. So you'll obviously handle your own objections that you're comfortable with. Anything that you're not comfortable with, answer saying, what is the correlation between FSMA and POPI? You don't want to add wrong because you don't know. So you say, well, I can have one of my security specialists tell you all about that. Or I can send you a white paper guide on that. Cool. The most important one is authority. You should be speaking to the CEO or someone who has a mandate from the CEO to lead, or the IT director. So this is typically Google's way in. We have a lot more other openings. So you can have your operations director, CTO. There's going to be a whole lot of other decision makers as well. As I said, you might be speaking to somebody who's not the decision maker, but I wasn't the decision maker in the whole Ackermans thing, really, because I have another company above me. So, you can ask them, what is your upper management, what are they currently working on? So get probing with that. You can even ask about what's his role in the project. So what do you handle in the business if you feel that he's probably not the right guy? If you want to qualify him. So if he says, hey, I actually handle the project and I sign off on the project. Perfect. He could be an IT manager, but he's the one with the authority. So not necessarily the title will be the authority. So I've been in companies where the CEO actually just overlooks it. So he's like, okay, well that's cool. But the IT director actually makes all the decisions because the CEO trusts his IT director. The CEO is obviously thinking about cost saving, vision, and other plans for the organization. He doesn't have time to look into IT. But and you can ask who typically makes a recommendation for changing or upgrading IT. It could be him. Who would be there in the room where the decision is getting made? Who is a decision maker? Who signs the purchase order? Or you can, indirectly. It's like, when was the last time you purchased technology? What did that process look like? And what was your role in that process? He says, well, I was actually one who gathered all the intel, who actually went hunting for solutions, and it has to go through my procurement director, who needs to sign off, and then my CEO that looks at. So a couple of these companies might have quite a large or complicated decision-making process. So it's just based that you understand, and it gives you good insights to who it is. Need. Okay, the company has a business need and a technical need. The business need. Obviously, the company's growing, the company's merging with another company. Mergers are very, very interesting as well. They say we're actually merging with another company. We actually bought a company we're merging. I was like, okay. And obviously, you guys want a standardized platform because the company that you might merge with might not be using the same technology you guys do. What is the process moving forward to integrate your IT together? Is that something being discussed, or are you guys happy to keep them separate? And they go, well, we are going to be looking at obviously merging all the IT together. And I'm like, okay, great. I'd be very happy to set up a meeting, discuss who we are and how we've been assisting companies like this. Company operates with different locations. Yeah, retailers have problem with communication. So in that regard, say you have a head office, but you have like 50 branches worldwide. Like, how do they communicate with each other? How do they enforce collaboration? It's difficult. So there might be a need there. And the kind of email collaboration doesn't cost too much. So as I said, you're going to find these, you're going to ask questions. What are you experiencing? What are the headaches, etc. And then this need will come out. Yeah, some questions there. Tell me about what prompted your interest. Tell me about your current email solution. What are the challenges you are facing as an IT manager? How are your growth plans affecting your IT requirements? How long have you been having these issues, etc. What happens if you don't fix these issues? What's going to happen? Are these issues painful enough that you have to make a change? Are you looking for alternative solutions? So yeah, just probing in to find that need. That's very vitally important. So yeah, always have next steps. So you're going to be booking that meeting. So that's basically what it is. Clear action by you guys to book that meeting for your sales manager. That is the next step that we're talking about. Either on a call or in a face-to-face meeting. Exactly the questions there. You have a genuine interest in the product, or we accept to have a conversation with sales, da, da, da. Do you have your agenda in front of you? When are we going to meet? So it's like these little closing techniques for the meeting. Good or bad qualification? Authority manager see comment. Did your CEO of the company approve IT purchase? Let's say. Okay, would this be good or bad qualification? So what do you see here? Is he qualified well?
CEO of the company
cool.
approve
Yeah.
purchases.
That's a good qualification. He's got all the authority needed, decision time frame. Awesome. The guy's ready to buy. That's good. That's good going there. Tell me if this is good or bad.
It's admin too, because I'm really excited about the chairs.
Yeah.
He needs to ask his boss. Tell him to ask his boss now.
Obviously not talking to the right guy. He has noticed he's the assistant admin. He shouldn't even be talking to the side.
Unless he's best friends with the boss.
Okay, so let's see this one. Authority. IT manager, CEO asking to assess different options around the change of their current systems. Due to share his conclusion by the end of next week, he will then lead the project. The decision will be taken by the board eventually. He will then lead the deployment project. Okay, need. The company has over 2 branch offices overseas. These offices operate on local ISP provided email systems. They need to change the email systems at HQ because the MS Enterprise Agreement expires in 6 months. When the Enterprise Agreement expires. So, good or bad?
That's a good.
Yeah, definitely good. So yeah, I mean, you guys obviously grasp this concept, how important qualification is. Perfect. Move it to the next. And you can recap on this document, just go through it when you can. Okay, I'm just touching back on the growth sales process, so where you're lined up. And so this gives you a nice broad understanding of our sales process. Okay? We have a 10-phase process from phase 1 all the way through to phase 10. So that you can understand what kind of situations get dealt in with these phases. So, it was from phase 0 all the way to phase 10, there's these little steps up here. So pre-qualification would be in phase 0, phase 1. Qualification, phase 2 and phase 3, and I'll go through that in a bit. I'll go through all of these together. This phase 4, solution validation. That will be phase 5 and phase 6. Proposal and close would be your phase 7 and 8. And then number 6, deployment, which means close, phase 10, when we actually deploy the solution in its life. Let's go back. Number 1, pre-qualification. So it's raw data. It's cold data leads. It's just like a lead sitting in Salesforce, name, contact, boom. All right. So you've probably wanted, like, you're going to ascertain what industry you're going to go for. So this is what you think. If I want to go after this industry, I need these companies in this vertical. And this trying to just building a leads list that you do in Navigator, in LinkedIn Navigator. In phase 1, you're actually contacting them. So I contacted the suspect and determined that they are interested in learning more. There is a reasonable value of interest. At least one meeting has been scheduled. Basic man information. So we just shortened it. So money, authority, need. That's Groves. Google's is Bantos. Groves is money, authority, need. So if we got those 3, then it means we're in business. So owned by, let's go on lead gen. So lead gen own this. We own all the leads. So phase 1 would be in a lead stage. Probably set up a meeting, hasn't really progressed to an opportunity as yet. And here's some qualification questions as well that we've actually touched on. Cool. So let's then, qualification means that we've got our man. So there's a famous saying, get your man, get your money, authority, need. So we've met, discussed follow-up requirements with customer at least once, and follow-on meetings are planned. We just want to open that door. Let's keep an eye on that. Thanks. And there's continuous engagement. So we've got, there's a need, and they're open to engage with Grove. Man is confirmed via sales, lead gen, and marketing, by proactive communication. Perfect. Phase 2. So you get off the bus, and let sales handle it from here. It's on your work. You can see it sail off into the sunset. Phase 3, okay, identify that there is either a form, implement, or evolve project plan with budget allocated. So just touching back on the form, before the company is comfortable to go solution, or they're not too sure how to go about implementing the solution. They know they need to go cloud or mobile. So what we do in this instance, we will form a workshop with them. So workshop entails that we get to understand their business, their vision, how their workflows are being done, and we can then position the sort of right solution to their business. It's not like a solution validation, it's before that. So it's just to make sure that their business is ready for cloud and mobile, etc. Cool, so then we will send informal pricing. So this is the stage where we identify that there is a solution that they're going for, possibly Google Apps or mobile app project or Microsoft 365. We'll send them some rough pricing in the informal quote. So this is kind of for budgetary purposes. This is what you're kind of at pay. There might be additional costs, or might be less, or so forth. Cool. So the customer's like, okay, great. I think we're onto something. We want to take things forward. We go into a discovery phase. So discovery means engaging with the opportunity to identify their detailed needs, drivers, landscape, to develop a winning account strategy. So we deep dive into that account. We want to find out what their long-term goals is, what they want to achieve. Are they going to downscale in the future? Are they going to upscale? Are they opening up new branches, etc.? So we could then discuss some of that sales. So this is where sales and pre-sales get involved. So up until here, this is marketing and lead gen. Okay, lead gen and this. Then qualification is sales. From phase 4, Then you start getting your pre-sales engineers, your techies, into the conversation. Then you're discussing the viability of, is this a solution going to be a fit, and answering any security questions, technical questions, integration, APIs, all that technical stuff will be covered in discovery. So value of growth solution has been demonstrated and understood by the customer. Multiple commercial and technical meetings continue to progress well. The likely value of the project is understood and is recorded in SFTC. So then you're adding in the numbers, the value of this deal. So it could be $500,000, $500,000, and then we're working on margins and what it's going to cost us to develop and all that other stuff. From here, goes into solution validation. This is like your POC stage. Like if they want a proof of concept, they paid for a paid trial. So they actually invested some money, in some cases, to make sure that the solution is actually a fit. So we, using resources, they might have a technical account manager on site or a technical pre-sales engineer on site helping them through the trial. So growth is shortlisted and detailed proposal submitted. Decision maker acknowledges that the growth solutions solves his problem. Okay, that's phase 5. Phase 6, growth differentiators understood by prospect and compelling event in place with an immovable date, and the budget has been released. Technical and user validation completed and commercial agreements have been reached. Contract and paperwork is submitted. So now we've basically understood that. The budget's out, they understand that they have a problem to fix, and the solution will fix their problem. And they kind of agree to that. Proposal and close, then it goes back to sales. So everything you can see is pre-sales. Back to sales for the commercial aspect. So negotiate pricing, develop and deliver complete executive summary proposal. So all the commercials, terms and conditions, everything will be submitted, concrete pricing, that states the solution and the value and so forth. Timescales for contract signature understood, all contract issues are resolved, and the account manager has verbal approval from ultimate decision maker. So saying, yes, great, we're going to go ahead. Definitely going to go ahead. Phase 8, all contract negotiations are complete, and we have date when we will receive the purchase order and sign licenses from ultimate decision maker. So then he says, okay, well, the contract's coming in on Wednesday. He said he's going to send the contract on Wednesday. We have a date of when the contract's coming in. Phase 9, the contract is signed by both parties together with purchase order and has been received by Grove, and order can be placed with Google or Microsoft or to our mobile app development team with no strings. So phase 9, the contract's in. Phase 10, sale is booked and is acknowledged by Grove Contracts Department. Then they close it off, everything's been sent, the invoice, and they can mark it as close 10 or phase 10, and that's the customer. Cool. Give you some good understanding. Any questions on this?
Yes. Can you go through each department with each phase?
Yeah, so each department. So in the pre-qualification will be marketing, generating leads, or lead generation leads. Qualification phase. So, you do some qualification. You could take it. If you're on a call, you could theoretically take it from phase 1 to phase 2 and say, hey, sales is a guaranteed phase 2 for you. Which is awesome, because you'll be getting a higher rate and so forth. You kind of have a lot of qualification yourself and be comfortable with it. And then you hand it over. Sales will still be with phase 2 and 3. In the discovery phase, phase 4, then pre-sales is introduced. So pre-sales engineers, the techie guys, come into play and have a discussion about how the solution is going to add value. Phase 5 and 6, sales and pre-sales. Again, and then from the proposal stage, so when you getting to submit the contracts and so both pre-sales hops off the bus, they've done their work, hopefully they've managed to convert to go ahead, sales as a contract, they send an to, then we hand it over to deployment and support. The deployment.
Who's deployment and support? What do their positions exactly?
So it's a deployment specialist. The guys actually go on site and deploy the solution. Or they can do it remotely. So IT, yeah. So you have pre-sales guys, like very knowledgeable, almost like IT gurus.
Which guys are there?
So that would be like your Scholl that you see, Louis in Johannesburg. So those are two best pre-sales engineers. Then deployment would be your JK, sits behind you, or sits behind me. CJ is also that, but CJ is also the pre-sales mixer as well. So he kind of does both. So yeah, and then it goes into support for ongoing 24/7 365 support where Richard, those IT guys.
What's the sales guy's background exactly? Like, just give me one of the sales guy. What's the Johannesburg guy? What's his background?
Nat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. I think he's been. We'll have a chat with Matt. He can give you the lowdown. Yeah. Make sure that he'll give you an introduction. So there's lots of sales guys there. Some of them in sales since they could walk and so forth, and just follow that career. But the other guys start lead generation.
Are you trying to see like avenues for growth?
No, I'm just very curious. I'm a curious man.
Cool. Good to be curious.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Okay. No more other questions? Alrighty. So I think we've gone, and you guys got a firm understanding of what Bant is. I think Google's got Bantos. Discovery questions. So these are kind of questions that you could go deep further in. So if you have a, for instance, if I give you an account and it's a company and say, this guy's interested in going Google, right? And I say to you, go and close him, go and meet with him, close him over the phone. You've got to obviously go through quite a few questions, not a lot of questions, but there's some questions that you can answer. So you might use one or two of these or a whole lot of them to understand their business and make sure that what they're purchasing is the right thing for their business as well. So here's a list of discovery questions where it rolls around business needs, technology, people needs, and deployment. So for example, a business need, how does your current business needs relate to IT priorities? What are you hoping to improve with these changes? So you can incorporate these into your conversations. Like when the person on the other line, he's kind of giving you objections. You can throw in one or two of these questions, You can even ask it, what effect would an email outage have on your business? So the guy's like, yeah, I'm running on-premise Exchange. I have no backup, no archive, nothing. You go, okay, what would an email outage have how would that affect your business? That's, yeah, cripple it. So what are you doing without a solution? You can ask them, what other key systems do you run within your business? That's a good one to ask. So what else are you running? What are you running in your business? I'd like to understand. What improvements, changes the IT department want to make in the next 1 to 2 years? Good question. What sort of improvements would you like to do? So have a look through this. It's got all you need to build your pitch around, and have this open with you sometimes when you're on the phone. Have this so you can quickly highlight the ones that you think you are comfortable with, and it works. It's really, this stuff is like bread and butter. I love this. Deployment, not much, that's probably for later. If you are talking deployment, if you go into sales, so this is, I'm actually giving you insight into the head. So if you start on the lead gen, you're asking the basic, you want to close the meeting, but for instance, say, hey, there's a 10-year company, they're coming into growth. They're like, I said, hey, Godfrey, close these people. Because we have people coming to growth all the time, like little companies, 5 users, 10 users. And then I'll say, hi Ryan, Here's one for you. Go and close them up. And then you're going to ask you questions. So, and it gives you good insight. So does it make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Or that? Okay. And once you become better and better and better, and then this stuff just rolls off the tongue. Essentially, this comes in the knowledge base. It's very good to ask questions. You always got to constantly ask questions and let the guy talk. That's the key element. The more you blabber on, the guy's just going to go. So just have that in mind. More questions asked. The guy, get involved, get him excited, get interested in him. So people actually like it when you get interested in them. They talk about it's a human, thing. A lot of this is just people to people. Okay. Okay, so I just want to take it back a notch, right? I want to touch base on nurture, because nurture is vitally important for this business. Without a nurture process, we will lose deals, essentially. Because people don't necessarily buy now. When you pick up that phone and the email, the chances are they're not going to buy now. I mean, you might come across a lucky one and go, wow, this guy's actually in a buying cycle, but lucky day. But most chances they're not. They might be buying in a couple of months' time. So you just need to keep tabs and build a relationship with them, send them some more information. The first impression is always the best impression. Once you start chatting on the phone, have a great impression, and ask them, okay, John, there's nothing right now, but can I give you a call in a month's time and touch base with you, keep you involved? There's events that we host, so then you'll be inviting him to events and educating him. So it's an education process and keeping him up to date with the world of Google, world of Microsoft, world of mobile apps. And you might come across some article, might be in the farming industry, might be young Pete there in the Buddha mountains, and there might be this revolutionary technology that's come out, these helicopter little things that can check out the cows and where they're going. Drones, yeah. And we might be selling drones or something, who knows? And we say, look, young, this interesting technology that will actually timestamp that cow, make sure he's in this place and he doesn't move. There's always new technology coming out. All right, so I'm going to open up this nurture presentation. And I call it Welcome to Crawling. And it's quite a little funny little presentation I'll come up, because you want to keep your guys, either you see yourself as a fisherman, a crawler, like you have your cows and you keep them all nice and fed. So you'll see my presentation, because it's all about educating. And I see my guys, my contacts, as my little cows. They all grow up little calves, they don't know what they really want to do. And then you kind of feed them the information, like Google information, technology information, and they get fatter and fatter and fatter, until you want to get them one day, close deal, into the slaughterhouse and eating that lovely biltong. That's all about those rump steaks. At the end of the day, you want rump steak on your plate. There's no use for me having a cow in the field that's not going to do anything. And also, you don't want your cows to be attacked by the wolves or the foxes, because that's your competition. So you're going to build your friends strong, make sure that they are loyal to you. They're going to bugger off, and then you're going to see the likes of Open Networks, Dimension Data, First Tech, all coming through your oaks. And you might have had a 4,000 user opportunity, and you pick up the phone. Hey, John, is it time to go Google? Are you guys thinking about that? Oh, Alan, we actually went ahead with Open Networks. And that happened with Metropolitan. 4,000 users. One of my guys was supposed to be nurturing that, keeping tabs, and he did it. And just like that, they went with Open Networks, 4,000 users. So that could have been our deal. So, and we didn't even know. So the thing is, that's why we put the system in place. Nurturing, crawling, keeping my livestock there, keeping it in the family. So let's go through this. It's a very cool presentation I created last year. Welcome to crawling, guys. Introduction, why crawl, facts and figures, best practice examples, question and answers and close. Right. Nurture, the definition. Okay, so the basic definition is care for and protect someone or something, i.e. lead prospect, while they are growing or moving through the phases. So you want to protect them. When they have that time to buy, that you are in the mix. They want to consider you because you've given them all the information, you've been educating them for so long, and you want them to come back. Okay, nurturing, to feed and protect, to nurture one's offspring. So in that relation to sales, it'll be content, knowledge, battle cards, competitive advantage. So you want to feed them, keep them nurturing, give them the insights they need. Also to support, encourage, to nurture promise, promising positions, to bring up, train, educate. So technology education, industry knowledge, events and business value. That's what you want to be giving them. Technology education. Rearing, upbringing, training, education, all the like, development. Moving from lead to op and moving from op to customer. That is the mission here. That's what you want to see happen. And also the nurturing young art is something that nourishes food. So grow customer, upsell, trust, support with food. So once they become a customer, you want to upsell them, you want to support them more, you want to continue that relation because they're going to buy from you again. Okay, kind of nice little graphic. So this is a leader's born or a new meeting. So you've got that meeting, your education, then you're going to be touching base, nurturing them, and giving them education, and get them, up to phase 2. You want to get them to phase 2, so that the sales guys can then. That's the salesperson. That's the sales lady there. Relationship builds, phase 2 to 4. Okay. And then you want a discovery, POC stage, the trust zone. You want to get them. You want to get trust there. Get some more color there. Ready for slaughter, phase 7 to 9. And then obviously the end product, done deal, phase 10, taste the quality. That's what you want to do. So why do we crawl? When a prospect isn't yet ready to pull the trigger. It builds a relationship with the prospect, builds trust and repeatability. And we know that social media influences business decisions. So a lot of these guys, they go on the internet, they want to do their own research. And you can help them do that research. You can say, hey, here's an interesting article. I don't know if you came across this or something like that. Just keep them going. So lead nurturing generates 50% more sales. That's Forrester. Forrester says it. So if you properly nurture, you're going to get 50% more sales. And these are a couple of the companies that we've nurtured in the past. These are my companies that I've nurtured. Hitachi nurtured them for 2 years, finally signed. Ampath nurtured them for a year, then they signed. Wits nurtured them for like a year and a half. And It's Wonderful was nurtured. Haymarket Media was nurtured for goodness knows how long, 2 to 3 years before that deal closed. So that's just some of the last year's figures. Q2 2015, meetings put 292, meetings done 242. We did 68 converted opportunities out of that. We created £634,000 of pipeline, and we closed £13,000. And there was actually more because Pack and Stack was in that number. We closed Pack and Stack, so we closed by £500,000 on Legion.
UK or the whole group?
Whole group. Well, just Legion, just my department. So what was £500,000 times 20?
5 times 20 was
A 10 million. That's what you did, just my department, which is great. So, best friend kickoff overview. So that's, you're going to sync up with your sales manager, etc., etc. That's a couple of the sales team duties. Just provide adequate feedback to lead gen upon every meeting. So they want to make sure that they provide you with feedback from every meeting you've set up for them. Make sure that Salesforce is always up to date. Decide if you'll take control of the opportunity until such time. Liaise with lead gen on accounts to nurture. So that your sales manager say, hey, let's see, look, Godfrey, Angel, please nurture these leads for me. And then you send it back into lead. Then you have, okay, I need to nurture these guys. You just want to get the leads out your crawl. You want to get them into the next crawl, into the opportunity crawl. So, and obviously have monthly meetings, updates, and communicate well. So yeah, best practice. Lead gen duties. You want to engage with your nurture prospect, at least with 2 touches per month, possibly, like an email and a call. So hey John, thought I'd give you a call. Came across some interesting information about some technology we're doing in your space. Thought it'd be worthwhile to give you a shout about it. Chat about what's happening in the industry regards to technology, chat about growth, what you're doing in space, invite to events, invite on LinkedIn. So get them on LinkedIn, get them engaged, etc., etc. So some examples. Just everybody to healthcare line like pitch group, WHO. Just basically how many touches there are. Qualify, nurture, close last, find business contacts. So a couple of next steps there. I'll run through with you guys. So this is an example of a call. Hi John, Alan from Gregory, we've been at Andy last month. Reaching out again with regards to the mobility business process mobile app discussion we had. Has this got interest around technology? And please start with the discussions, or if there are any other areas of focus. Great. I'll keep you up to date with the latest developments. Just some examples you can guys go through. Any questions, guys, about that? Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. I mean, it's quite relationship building. Cool. That concludes our session. Any other questions you guys might have so far over the last couple of days that we need to just answer? Cool. All right. So guys, just remember this time. Just go and recap, go through those presentations, and then we'll be back for later this afternoon. You'll be doing some shadowing.
Yeah. So we're back here at 2:30. What time?
We will be back here for recap on lead gen workflow process at 2:30.
2:30.
Perfect.
So everything's going to be, even the chart, the shadow